Okay, welcome back. And our guest still is Solomon Adoga, Senior Program Officer, TMG, a Transition Monitoring Group. And that's a citizens' election observation coalition that independently verifies our election results. And so we're effectively getting the benefit of their observations. Now let's go into perhaps the core of the election, because we've been speaking in more or less general terms on how it all went. But we can say it is, I mean, it has been said that the elections have largely been called, declared in Imo and in Kogi states. So that is, APC has sort of ruled the day in those states. Now, we still have Bayelsa to go in terms of the collation of results there. And we understand that Diri, Governor Diri, Due Diri, is leading or was leading when, you know, when things were suspended, to be resumed at 12 noon. Give us an overview, a sort of recap on that. We've heard, for instance, mentions, Reverend Dominic came in on that look, Imo State sweeping the entirety of the state, it gives him cause for concern. You also have commented on that. Kogi State, would you like to comment on, you know, the elections and the declarations in Kogi State? It's, of course, APC at 446,000 odd votes.
Yeah, right. So maybe I start with Kogi State. So clearly, we've seen the power of incumbency, so to speak, playing out in Kogi State. The governor is clearly endorsing a preferred candidate, and he has supported as much as possible that candidate to emerge at the end of the day. But one issue that we continue to dent the exercise in Kogi State is, of course, this, you know, alleged result writing that has been reported, that has been flagged, that INEC has found, you know, huge enough to respond to, you know, that INEC has, you know, pledged to investigate. Because, like I said, the question will be, where else did that happen and was not exposed? But what we want to see is INEC doing its proper investigation, and when that investigation is done, we are confident that perhaps this will be determined at the judiciary, and such evidence will, you know, go into to decide what actually transpired, if it was just a one-off situation or if it was something that actually cut across the state. Then I think
Okay. Solomon,
there's no response to this, but I think we also saw...
Basharon has called in from Iyanokpaja. So sorry, Solomon. I know there's a delay between us, you know, in terms of time. But Mr. Basharon in Iyanokpaja, good morning to you.
Morning.
Go right ahead, please.
Good morning, Ofiori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
The Ofiori. I just want to respond to the Reverend Dominic's view.
Okay.
The Reverend Dominic view.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Reverend Dominic, I don't think that Reverend Dominic goes home. Sincerely, with his insult, I apologize for that. Why opposite one of the local government in Imo State is known to almost everybody that's been following events there. He wants those local government based on this equity, Imo State equity of a charter of equity. That is the major reason why I want to see. You say people, I know all of them are grieved because they have to believe that it's their turn. But that equity, people are now hopeful that the next zone from the equity, charter equity that Oputatma did, will be coming to Ubise or the zone. And that is the major reason why Emeka made you step down, because he knew it's their turn.
Okay.
Yes, so it's not rigging at all. If you say that there's anybody, nobody has complained. Anybody that is domiciled in Imo State has complained that anything was written. But that equity of charter of equity was a master stroke because it gave hope to everybody in Imo State. He's leaving his zone. He's coming to Okigwe and he's coming to Umbese Owerri zone. So everybody in Owerri zone, they are very, very anxious. That's why they voted massively so that they can be considered.
All
it's
right,
not rigging at all.
Okay.
I think they have some mindset about Bosima that is using their turn. Because the man that was removed for him from the court was an Ibise man. And that man, because of the charter of equity that they did, that's why he stepped down. Because it's hopeful that he's coming to their turn. I'm sure he's going to contest next election. Because that thing is good. Naturally, they don't agree that the thing is going to Owerri. Zone. That's not the reason. We should not forget about it. People are moving in the last election in Ondo State from Ondo State. I cannot look clear everywhere in Ondo State because he mentioned that the next governor will come from our side. We gave him that president supposed that he can come to our side.
All right, then.
This
Thank
is
you
true.
very much, Mr. Bashorun, calling in, commenting on on Reverend Dominic's submission. You have the two views side by side. Reverend Dominic was of the opinion that it was just not possible. That is his own emphatic way of putting it. But then, not only you, but also a caller before you, Mr. George, had said that, look, we should be careful about what we say, what is not possible and what is possible. But, everybody will have their say. This is TVC, after all, TVC News. So we do let everybody have their say, and it's good to have it like this. One person has alleged in a particular way, and other people are commenting on that particular position. Solomon, it's interesting, isn't it? As I said, on TVC, we take all the views. So even though Reverend Dominic, who, by the way, is
very interesting.
Yes, and he's an avowed supporter of the APC, which was a point that was noted by George, who called in. He says, look, irrespective of that, I'm telling you that what happened is hardly possible. He didn't say hardly possible. He said it's actually not possible. And we just heard from Bashorun that indeed it could be possible. As you were going to say, quite interesting, isn't it?
Very, very, very interesting. So you will know from get-go that the Reverend's comment was going to generate these counter comments and all of that. But I mean, the Reverend is on the field. I don't know who else has commented that is actually in Imo State, But of course, it's absolutely possible for a popular candidate to clear all the local governments. It's a democracy. So if people feel that, this candidate is popular, sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, I was saying that I'm not even sure because I didn't catch it from Reverend Dominic himself whether he traveled home because he's normally in Yanokwaja. He's based in Lagos. So I'm not sure if he also was depending on people that were over there.
Yeah.
Because you had mentioned that the Reverend was on ground. I'm not sure. I wish I had been certain about that.
Yeah. Okay. I thought he mentioned that. So maybe it's just his feeling that he's very familiar with the terrain and its politics. But like George said, if the Reverend has been known.
Please continue. Please go on, Solomon.
Good. So, all right, great. Because in George's comments, you can deduce that perhaps the Reverend, as an APC member, has been commenting negatively on APC over time, which clearly is anti-party activity. I'm not a politician. I don't know how those things work for them. And he has clearly warned him to desist or else, be punished by his political party. So if he's known for that, perhaps he's just expressing those kind of sentiments again, But then we cannot say categorically that we've seen in recent time elections in Nigeria where, especially gubernatorial elections, where a candidate is expected to clear all the local government areas, when you have strong oppositions who also come from places within that state. I mean, these are just things that we can think over or that we can think through. Because one of the reasons why we discredit our local government elections is the fact that the governor's party is going to clear all the local government in that pool. So it's basically pre-written results. And that's what it is. So if this is looking, I'm not saying this is what it is, but if it is looking like our local government elections, people like the Reverend and whoever else, have every right to be apprehensive, to question that. It's a red flag. It should be questioned. So we cannot come to take away that right to be apprehensive about this red flag from the Reverend.
Very much so. Let me bring in Mr. Joshua, who has called in from Irewolede in Ogun State. Good morning to you, Mr. Joshua.
Good morning.
Great morning. Good to hear from you.
And I greet your guest.
Thank you.
As much as we would like to enjoy this program without distractions, I don't like this thing that this Reverend Dominic is doing, like applying everywhere. He's in Lagos in his church, probably doing night vigil. And he will now be talking about writing results. Which results? Reverend Dominic should understand that we are at the age of technology. Yes, things can be recorded and posted on social media. This way he just comes on. By the way, he's not an APC person. This person has never been. So people should understand.
No, exactly. He just has been a supporter, as a number of people who call in are. I'm not sure. I don't really know that he's a card-carrying member. I just am saying it like it is.
He's not a supporter of APC on Guyori.
Okay.
See, Hope Uzodimma has put a lot of pundits in big trouble because they called him Supreme Court governor. Now the man has turned to governor of the people. They are not happy about that. That his legitimacy is confirmed. So the point here is this for me. I think our politicians should start learning how to manage failure. This idea of once I don't win, pull down everywhere, I never has this. I mean, what's that? This is a contest. Somebody is going to win. No election is ever going to be perfect. And what our politicians are doing, once they see a stronger opponent, they start pulling problem into the air, just looking for excuses here and there to explain away their failures. That's the truth. They should accept that these things is a contest. Somebody has to win. And the media should please start educating our politicians. It's time for them to start behaving statesmanly. And everywhere, stop gaslighting everywhere every time they lose an election. So we have Nigeria, and we have the interest of...
all right, then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua, calling in from Irewolede. So I get the impression that you often are following us, but it's not every time that you feel a need to rise up, as it were, to even contribute. But this one that Reverend Dominic went and said this morning, and that has reacted to by George, you've also risen to the occasion yourself. As I say once more, TVC will take all views in as much as they come out like this. We're ready. So there you go. But you have said, Solomon, that these things, the way they're looking, they can be queried. In fact, I think you started off yourself by saying that you weren't even sure if the good Reverend was a sole voice. Remember?
Yeah.
Who? I have Ayo. Before you continue, I have Ayo in Oshogbo on the line. Good morning, Ayo.
Yeah.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, quite a lot, sir. Uncle Yori, I want to comment on what your guest said about the judiciary. And we have to wait for the judiciary to pronounce who is the governor or the president or the senator or House of Rep member, as the case may be. I want to disagree with that. The judiciary, if you follow the trend of the judiciary, right from the days of Okafor, the judiciary has been reluctant in intervening in what the term political question, that is not justiciability of the issue. However, during the days of APC, they gave out the reason why they have to intervene. That if laws are set, people are deliberately flouting the law, then the judiciary has to come in. When you look at the statement of Justice Vival, my Lord Justice Vival, in the case of Ovuzodima and Justice Vival said that the judiciary doesn't have any right to say who the candidate of a party will be. But once a party flouts its own rule, then the judiciary has to come in. So that is what is obtainable. Now, once politicians are doing all means to win election, both legal and illegal, then the judiciary has to come in and say, no, this is the proper way to do it, and this is the right way to do things. That is the role of the judiciary. Not that the judiciary is coming to say this is the governor of a state or this is... No, that is not the role of the judiciary. I beg to disagree with that. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for that sort of observation. I won't say necessarily clarification, but it's an observation, and I think it might be germane. What do you think? Because it's not quite the same. I don't know the extent to which that paradigm fits over the one that we're talking about, Solomon.
So I basically think that we are on the same page, perhaps just some miscommunication somewhere. I'm not saying that we have left it to the judiciary to determine winners of elections. I mean, it's just metaphorically saying or speaking that I sounded that way, because that's what it is now. But of course, like he rightly said, the judiciary is not supposed to turn a blind eye to where people flout, provisions and guidelines that are supposed to guide, our conduct through election, whether at the political party level or at, general elections. And that is what is, basically happening now. So what the judiciary does is basically to see where, provisions and guidelines, have been flouted, and they have every right to, correct that and put that in check, like he rightly said. So we are not on a different page on that at all. So what we don't want, and I think he rightly hit on that as well, the actions of the political actors is, what is bringing us to where we are at the moment. Is not as if these guys don't know what to do, but they test the waters regardless, to see where they can, still scale under. But we should not allow this to happen. And they are not just testing, the waters at the level of the judiciary. They are also testing the waters at, the level of INEC, testing the conduct of INEC, testing the conduct of security agencies. You see clearly that there are, agents of the EFCC in polling units. There are agents of the police, civil defense, and people still continue to perpetrate vote trading. Is it that they do not know that this is not allowed? They know, but they still test their waters, and most of the time they get through, which is very unfortunate. So, like I will always say, if we can put in check the action of our political parties, of our political actors, we'll get our process right. And for me, the only way that we can put a check on our political actors is at the level of the political parties. The political party as institutions need to, maybe reform itself. If we can reform our political parties as institutions, we'll be able to reform the behavior of the political parties, at the behavioral level. Maybe we'll call it behavioral reform or whatnot. For instance, I don't believe that the political parties should be a platform or an all-comer platform. I was speaking to somebody in a platform, and he mentioned something germane. Political parties should have institutes where, if you are going to contest on the ballot, on the banner of a certain political party, you should be able to have proven that you are a product of that institute. Because that is the only way that the political party can say that it has reflected its ideas, its ideologies on you as a person. And even you as a person can say that you have imbibed the ideologies of that political parties. It is through those institutes that a political party can define what its ideas are. Otherwise, we'll just be political parties for sake of being political parties. So, in the end, it's not just everybody coming in through. You come in because you have gone through our institute so that we are not having this midnight decamping that we have. So we seriously need to look at our political parties, because for me, it is the political actors testing the resolve of INEC, testing the resolve of security agencies, testing the resolve of our judiciary. So if these people are acting right, because at the polling unit, I'm not sure that any voter is going to demand for money. It is the actors selling. Sorry, it is the actors demanding to buy, and then there's a willing hand to sell. That is the case. So if nobody is there to buy, trust me, there won't be vote trading. So we need to put in check the actions of these political actors. And like I think the second to the last caller said,
Joshua.
in midday Saturday, we were saying, okay, this has gone peaceful so far. Sorry?
I think that was Mr. Joshua. You said the second to the last caller. Sorry, I'm sorry. I wish I hadn't interjected because of the delay. The
Yes,
name of the
yes. Mr. Joshua, right? He mentioned something, quite significant, and these are things that we must, take into action, right? Midday into the process, we are seeing a peaceful process, but we are cautious, and we warned that this is not the end of it. This can quickly spiral over at the next phase, which is result management. And in most of the cases where we have these pockets of incidences, they occurred at that level. Sometimes it is not because something has gone wrong. It is because perhaps a losing politician has seen the writing on the wall and begins to instigate violence, through some kind of comments and commentary.
Very
this
well
should not
put.
be allowed, So if we have a system that,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I interjected, but there's this, uncomfortable delay between us. But that's as far as we're going to be able to take it. And I want to thank you very much for coming on our program and sharing, giving us the benefit of the observation of your group, the TMG. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate it. Okay, so that's our program. We're going to have to leave it there for now. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.